Patty's such a great person to love. I mean, she's the funniest person I've ever met. And, you know, everything from her heart. I mean, everything always comes from her heart.
I love everything about Nick. Nick is actually a pretty cool guy. He has a heart of gold. He has my back in any situation.
It's great to be able to have a person that's just on the same wavelength with you. And she knows I always have her back, and she always has my back. No matter what we do, you know, whether we're successful at something or not, I know that she's always there with me.
He's just very fair, and he's super smart. He's super caring, and he'll do anything for me and my family, and that is what is so attractive about him.
The one thing I love about Patty is she's got a way about her. You know, I don't know what it is, but I know that I can't live without her.
Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am home again.
I met Nick through my cousin Stacy. She knew Nick for years, doing the Greek folk dancing competitions.
She calls me up one day. Stacy goes, Nick, you know, I was thinking about you, and I got a cousin in New Jersey. And I'm like, New Jersey? Where the hell is that?
She decided that it was time for us to meet. So she called me up one day and she's like, look, I have this guy I really, really want you to meet. He's from California. Why don't you give him a call and see how things turn out? I called. And we started talking, and then that was it.
So she was an awesome girl, and gosh, Stacy wasn't wrong. I mean, she was amazing. From the second that I talked to her, I remember I was on the freeway in LA, just booking down the road. I'm like, I'll give this girl a call. It's amazing. We talked about our families, how she was in the restaurant business, how my folks were in the business, and you know, we talked about being Greek and what she loves in life. And the conversation just lasted. You know, it seemed like a second, but it was an eternity. Talked about everything.
I was actually really nervous when I saw him for the first time because I didn't know what to expect. At this point, we were on the phone every night for like a week or two before he actually made his first trip. So I had like butterflies in my stomach when I went to the airport to go pick him up. And then I spotted him coming down the escalators. I knew it was him.
And I looked down, I see this just beautiful blonde girl just sitting there, and you know, I said, oh, this must be my Patty, because she's amazing. So I walked down, she had a smile from ear to ear.
He like shrugged his shoulders and he did that little smile that he does, and he's like, hi.
She gave me a big hug and she goes, welcome to New Jersey. I'm like, God, I'm in New Jersey. Anyway. So after the airport, Patty and I were in the car, we talked for a little while, and she goes, okay, well, I'll take you up to where your hotel is up in Mount Olive, Bud Lake. And I said, all right, great. So we drove a while, and it was getting darker and darker, further away from the city. We get to Bud Lake, you know, there were some deer outside, snow. I'm like, wow, this is great. So she dropped me off at the hotel, we talked for a while, and showed me around town. She goes, okay, this is my parents' diner. We're not gonna stop in. I don't want to introduce you yet. I'm like, I would hope not. This is the first day you ever met me.
The next trip, which was the following week, I believe, is when we actually had a good time. That's when we went to our first Knicks-Lakers game. After the game, we took a horse-drawn carriage ride through Central Park, and we finally got to meet up in Times Square.
So before I proposed to Patty, you know, I had all sorts of plans in place. I had a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
It was August 14th.
Plan A was, you know, we're gonna go to a Broadway show, and, you know, then afterwards we were gonna go take a carriage ride into Central Park, and yeah, plan A didn't work so good.
It was raining. I'll never forget the amount of
I
rain.
think they had a record 7 inches of rain that day.
And we saw Jersey Boys. We had a great, great time.
I quickly had to think of, okay, we just finished this show. What are we gonna do? Like, oh yeah, we'll go get a bite to eat. So plan B came into effect.
We went to go eat. During that conversation, we were actually talking about the time that when we were gonna get engaged. We knew that it had to come at some point. We were already 2.5 years together. Nick kind of played it off like it was still going to be like another few months, which I was completely content with. It was no issues, no problems with me. We go see Chicago that night.
So we finished the show, and we headed, you know, for a walk. So let's just walk around for a while. We always like walking to Times Square. We always love taking pictures. So we get to the point, and she goes, oh, let's take pictures. I said, okay, great, this is awesome. This is a perfect time. So I said, why don't you go first? And I had her pose, and I walked over to a police officer, and I said, ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you. I go, but see that lady over there? She goes, yeah. And I go, I'm about ready to propose to her. She's my future wife. And she goes, oh my God. And I said, well, do me a favor. Can you just take a picture for me while I'm doing this? But do me a favor, stall a little bit. I can't get this ring out of the pocket. Patty comes over to help her out, and I walk over and get into position, get the ring out, ready to go. I said, come on over here and let's take a picture. I go, she'll figure it out.
And all of a sudden, Nick gets down on his knee and he asked me to marry him, and I was in shock. I didn't even know how to answer. My first response was that he was practicing, because we just discussed this a few hours earlier.
He looks up and she's all, are you joking? Are you like practicing? And I said, no, and I just proposed to you. Like, are you gonna marry me or what? And she goes, oh yeah, I'll marry you.
After he gave me the ring and whatnot, I was just jumping for joy.
We walked into the Marriott Marquis and started making our phone calls, and she's just shaking. And
called my cousin Stacy. She was the first one I called because she was the one who introduced us.
We wanted to make sure we told her mom personally, so we got in the car and we drove all the way to Bud Lake, and her mom was working the night shift. We went down there and told her, and she was just so happy that we finally had a chance to move forward in life.
And it was awesome, and it was exciting, and it was incredible. It was just one of those most memorable moments of my life, and I'm so happy.